rules.
There's a difference between knowing something is wrong and having to live with what you know. Most of us choose comfort. Bill Furlong doesn't get that choice. If stories about moral courage buried under silence hit you the way they hit me, subscribing helps keep these essays coming. Small Things Like These feels like watching someone drown in slow motion, not in water, but in awareness. It's a film that understands how suffocating quiet can be when everyone around you has agreed not to speak. The cold seeps into every frame. The tension isn't in what happens, it's in what everyone refuses to acknowledge is happening. Ireland, 1985, Bill Furlong delivers coal. He has a wife, 5 daughters, and a routine that keeps his head down and his family safe. He's the kind of man who notices things, small kindnesses he can offer, a boy without shoes, a woman being harassed. But noticing is one thing. Acting on what you notice is something else entirely. During a delivery to the local convent, Bill sees a girl being dragged through the door screaming. Later he finds another girl locked in the coal shed, freezing and terrified. The convent isn't just a convent, it's a Magdalen laundry, one of those places Ireland kept running until 1996, where unwed mothers and so-called fallen women were imprisoned, their babies taken, their labour exploited, their lives erased. Everyone knows, no one says anything. What makes this film so unsettling isn't the abuse itself. We barely see it. What we see is the architecture of silence that protects it. The way Sister Mary, played with chilling precision by Emily Watson, offers Bill tea and speaks in pleasant tones while making it clear that his daughters attend the school next door. The way his wife Eileen tells him there are things you have to ignore to get on in life. The way the entire town has learned to look away at exactly the right moment. Cilianmurphy plays Bill like a man whose body is present but whose mind is somewhere else, wrestling with something he can't name. He's not a hero, he's not even particularly brave, he's just someone who can't unsee what he's seen. Murphy's performance is almost entirely internal. His face does the work. You can watch him thinking, watch the weight of his own complicity settling on him, watch him trying to scrub it off his hands every night after work. The film keeps showing us Bill washing his hands. It's compulsive, vigorous, like he's trying to get clean from something that won't come off. Because he's not just delivering coal to the convent, he's fueling it, literally. His work keeps that place running, and he knows it now. Bill's backstory comes in fragments. His mother was an unwed teenager who should have ended up in one of those laundries. She didn't because a wealthy woman named Mrs. Wilson took them in. Bill was spared, he got lucky, and that luck haunts him because he knows how easily it could have gone the other way. When he looks at the girl in the coal shed, he's looking at a version of his mother. When he looks at his 5 daughters, he's looking at 5 reasons the world is dangerous. The film understands that trauma isn't just what happens to you, it's also what almost happened. Bill carries the ghost of a life he never had to live, and it makes him hyper-aware of every girl who wasn't as lucky. He's living in the gap between fortune and catastrophe, and that gap is unbearably thin. There's a scene where Bill sits at the kitchen table with his daughters and tells them about a Christmas gift he received as a child, a jigsaw puzzle. It's a lie, he actually got a hot water bottle, but he can't tell them the truth because the truth is that his childhood was the puzzle, unsolved, incomplete, something he's still trying to piece together. He can't look at them while he talks. He stares at the bread he's frying because meeting their eyes would require him to reconcile what he had with what they might lose. Sister Mary is terrifying not because she's loud or violent, but because she's so calm. She knows exactly how much power she has. When she hands Bill a Christmas card with money inside, it's not a gift, it's a transaction, a reminder. You take care of us, we'll take care of you, and if you don't, while your daughters go to our school, the threat is never spoken. It doesn't have to be. Emily Watson plays her like someone who's made peace with what she does because she believes in the system that allows it. She's not a villain, she's worse. She's an administrator, someone who genuinely thinks she's helping. That's the real horror. Not cruelty, but cruelty dressed up as charity. Not evil, but evil that calls itself mercy. The film's use of sound is deliberate and unnerving. Church bells ring throughout. At first, they're just part of the landscape, marking time, calling people to prayer. By the end, they sound different. They sound like a warning, like surveillance, a reminder that the church is always there, always watching, always in control. The bells don't change. Our understanding of them does. Lance shoots Murphy from behind, often his face turned away from the camera. It makes him feel distant, unknowable, like we're observing someone who's not fully present in his own life. When the camera finally gives us close-ups, the effect is devastating. We see how much he's been holding in, how much he's been carrying. The film withholds his face until we need to see it, and when we do, it's almost too much. There's another moment, quieter, that stuck with me. Bill encounters a barefoot boy drinking milk from a stoop. He doesn't say anything, he just watches. The boy doesn't ask for help, Bill doesn't offer it, but something passes between them. Recognition maybe, or just the acknowledgement that some people are always one bad day away from disappearing. Bill knows that feeling, he's been adjacent to it his whole life. The film doesn't give us a big confrontation, there's no courtroom scene, no public reckoning, no speech where Bill calls out the hypocrisy. That's not the story this is telling. Instead, it ends with a single act of defiance, so small it could almost be missed. But it's not small, not to the person it saves, not to Bill, and not to us, because by the end, we understand what it costs to act when everyone around you has chosen not to. What Small Things Like These understands is that complicity isn't active, it's passive. It's the decision to keep your head down, to not ask questions, to accept that some things are just the way they are. It's the insidious comfort of not being the one suffering. And it's how monstrous systems survive, not because of the people running them, but because of everyone else who lets them run. The film never tells us Bill is a good person. It shows us someone trying to figure out what being a good person even means, when goodness requires risk, when it threatens your family, when it isolates you, when no one will thank you for it. The film asks a question it doesn't answer. What do you do when doing the right thing might destroy everything you've built? This isn't a film about the Magdalene laundries, not really. It's about the people who knew they existed and did nothing. It's about the gap between knowing and acting. It's about how easy it is to convince yourself that you're powerless when really you're just scared. And it's about the small things, the moments that seem insignificant but aren't. The choices that don't feel like choices until you look back and realise they were the only thing that mattered. By the end, those church bells sound like what they always were. Not a call to faith, but a reminder of who's in charge. Not comfort, but control. The film doesn't let us off the hook. It doesn't offer catharsis or resolution. It just shows us what it looks like when one person decides they can't live with their own silence anymore, and it asks us quietly, without judgment, what we would do. If this story stayed with you the way it stayed with me, feel free to share it. And if you want more essays like this, subscribing helps the channel more than you think.